Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 o'clock. I'll go ahead and start it. My name is Lima. I am the e-resource librarian at University of South Carolina. First, I want to thank NC Serial's conference committee for the opportunity to speak today. Today, I'm going to talk about our e-resource migration to Alma that was completed last June. Okay, so today's agenda. So first, I'll talk a little bit about the background of our migration, and then I'll talk about a little bit about our e-resource management before Alma, and then the migration goals, challenges, and strategies. And last, I'll talk about how we what the unified electronic resource management looks like in Alma, and the workflow changes as well as the new challenges. So a little bit about us. We are a ARL research library. There are a main library, law library, and this School of Medicine library on our main campus. We have over 33,000 students. In terms of our electronic resources, we have over 195,000 unique e-journal titles, and over 1 million ebooks, and more than 400 databases. So background about migration. So in July 2018, South Carolina Pascal Consortium, which is a consortium of South Carolina academic libraries, selected Ex Libris Alma as the next library service platform, as well as Primo as a discovery tool. So from January through May 2019, it was a vanguard phase, and we were one of the vanguard libraries. And from June 2019 through June 2020, that was the full implementation phase. And on June 1st, 2020 was a target go live date. So how did we manage our e-resources before migration, before Alma? University of South Carolina libraries have relied on both a traditional ILS with the ERM and a link resolver to effectively manage our e-resources. So the ILS we used was Millennium, and the full text finder was our link resolver. So why do we need a dual system? As you may know, for financial data, the ordering information, we had to do those in the ILS, and also the ERM. With ERM, we were able to manage package info and contact and license information. And we used full text finder for our e-journal A to Z list. So the dual system caused a lot of duplicate data management for staff, and patients also had to use both systems, often had to search both systems for their searches. So when we decided to migrate to Alma, I was quite excited because from what I learned, Alma is a unified system for e-resource management. So after taking some online training and a few on-site training, we sit down and set out our migration goals for our e-resources. First and foremost, we want to make sure our data will be transferred, completely and accurately. And secondly, we want to minimize duplicate data management in Alma. And last, also very importantly, is to maximize our users' discovery experience in Primo. We know any migration comes with a set of challenges. For this migration to Alma, I roughly put our challenges into 4 different categories. And some of these challenges may be universal for everyone. Some are unique, to us. So these 4 categories are deduping, local fields, information transfer, and the P2E and link resolver form, and then data testing. Okay, our first challenge, deduping titles in the ILS. We have many duplicate electronic titles in both Millennium and Full Text Finder, which would result in a great deal of duplication if migrated to Alma, from both places. The duplicate titles would also cause confusion in Primo for patrons. So we decided to migrate most of our e-journal titles, if possible, via the Alma link resolver form, so we could take advantage of Alma's community zone records. In the meantime, we wanted to dedupe titles in our ILS as much as possible. However, some titles needed to be migrated from both places because the financial data was only in Millennium. So the strategy we have used, given the magnitude of this deduping project, we knew immediately it could not be completed without collective teamwork. So first and foremost, we assembled a team, and I provided trainings and ongoing feedback to our team members. And then we identified titles that could be deduped from the ILS, and we performed systematic deduping. For the titles we couldn't dedupe, we suppressed the bib records so they would not show up in Primo after we migrated. So our second challenge is to transfer our complete local holdings data from Millennium to Alma. During the Vanguard phase, we noticed that some of our holdings fields were not transferred into Alma for some reason. Upon reading documentation and consulting with our migration team, also with the help from Ex Libris, we determined that the best way for us to safely migrate those holdings information, was to convert those fields into a local field in the bib records, and then migrate over. So our system librarians and other catalog libraries librarians work together to use a local field in the bib records, and then implement the change as soon as possible, so we could, test those out during our second test load in the implementation phase. And as expected, things worked out. The third challenge was to fill out the Alma P2E form and the linker resolver form. Since we have a huge collection, we knew it would be a challenge. Just a little bit about what a P2E form and linker resolver form are. So the P2E file basically tells Alma to convert the Millennium records into the electronic, Millennium electronic holdings into electronic holdings in Alma. And the link resolver form basically tells Alma that what packages, what databases, or what titles that we have, we will activate from Alma. Since we have a large collection, we prepared the forms early. We had to, prepare it for 3 times, basically, during the Vanguard phase, the second testing phase, and then the full implementation, the final data load. So we find, as we prepare for the form, we find some old titles, packages that we were not sure anymore if we should still have access. So we had to do a lot of license reading, and also ask colleagues with institutional knowledge. And those are all very time consuming. So to prepare the form early is really important. And another challenging thing is that Alma may have different names for the same, for the packages from your current or your old link resolver. They may call it differently, and you'll want to examine, into the Alma, the testing, the data to see, is a package the one you have. And also there are some coverage differences within between the package, Alma package, and your previous link resolver package. So there are some data analysis required. Also, that's very time consuming. The fourth challenge, data testing. So given our size, our e-resource collection, extensive data testing would be required to ensure the data was complete and accurate. So first of all, you want to make sure the testing data you loaded reflect a good variety of your electronic resource types, standalone titles, packages, and databases. And you want to perform extensive data testing to identify the missing and inaccurate information. And it's also very important to perform data testing in Primo, since Primo And in Alma, in general, especially with electronic resources, it looked quite differently from what we had before. So we had to do a lot of learning before we could effectively test the data and knew what was wrong and how we want it be fixed. Well, on June 1st, 2020, that's right in the middle of the pandemic, we were able to go live as scheduled. So we are live for about 10 or 11 months by now. This is what we have learned about e-resource management in Alma. First, Alma provides a unified platform that can manage life cycles of all types of resources, including individual titles, packages, and databases. New resource ordering and activation are streamlined and are easy to track. And title changes are automatically implemented. It is one stop for managing acquisitions, linking, coverage, and license information. Secondly, Alma Community Zone and Network Zone offer efficiencies in managing electronic packages and titles. Community Zone records are managed by Ex Libris, and we are able to have some resources managed by Pascal at the network zone level. So both of these free up the libraries, free up libraries time. Alma also actually allows you to manage discovery functionalities. So you don't have to leave Alma for other places. It truly integrated all these functionalities. And last, it's very important that Alma analytics are very powerful. Libraries can run many kinds of reports, analysis, and statistics from there. Next, these are some screenshots to demonstrate, why I feel like it's a unified system and how that looks like, in Alma. So this is example is for this Journal of Philosophy. So first, you can tell this title, this record is a community zone record. You see the people icon right next to the journal title. And you can see in this big red big box down at the bottom that it shows that we can access this title from 4 different packages. In Alma, we say we have 4 portfolios. And you can also see we have an order record attached to this title. The upper left corner, those are the Alma zones. The institution zone, network zone, community zone. So this specific portfolio is from Philosophy Document Center. As you can see, you can set status, availability status, and also set the activation date, as well as some other general information here. And this linking tab shows the linking information for this title, for this specific portfolio, I should say. All of these is maintained and updated by Ex Libris since it's a community zone record. This truly helps library save a lot of time for maintaining, keeping up with the linking changes. The acquisition tab. This is one of my favorite. Here, you will be able to see the PO, purchase order line information attached to this portfolio. So you know how you got this title. And what's more, you can add, see the box on the bottom right, it says add additional PO lines. So that will allow you to add any related PO lines. It's very helpful for serious titles because, for example, if this title later on changed name and then you create a new order record or new bib record, and you are able to link that new order here, so you have you can easily see what happened to this title, and connect the dots. I just make it so much easier as opposed to put a note in the order record. There's staff can check what the title will look like in the discovery just by clicking on that display in discovery, and will show this is what patrons will see in Primo. And this last screenshot is an example of Alma analytics. This is a dashboard I created in Alma. So it showed our electronic titles that we have in Alma, and I can search based on different queries. You can see that I sort this table by classification code. That's LC classification code. That information comes from the bib record. That is something that was not possible before, with the dual system management. This is particularly helpful, when we receive requests from liaison to run title list for their specific subject areas. Again, this is just one example, and you can do all sorts of reports in Alma, which is really amazing. So Alma brings a lot of workflow changes. Alma streamline ordering, activation, package, and title updates. We have a new entire workflow on how to place order, how to track activation, etc. in Alma. And Alma's community zone updates keep package title lists, coverage, linking up to date for the library. However, we do want to review the changes made to our library very carefully, because there are times that the changes are not desirable. Another change relates to some consortia purchase resources. The consortia we belong to is Pascal, and it's managing some resources on the network zone for the member libraries. That certainly increases efficiency, But on the other hand, you know, if we have questions related to those resources and we have some, you know, access issues, then we will need to reach out to Pascal for help. So that's some workflow change. And in Alma, you can also set up automatic electronic holdings updates such as Springer. That is definitely a huge plus. The staff training. Our staff watched a lot of Ex Libris training videos and went to some on-site trainings. We also had consortium level and local trainings. However, continuing learning is needed to reinforce, you know, what we have been taught. So I found it was very important for staff to have a solid understanding of Alma's fundamentals, such as zones, type of searches, record types, and how they all fit together. For e-resource staff, understanding Alma's linking mechanism and discovery layers are crucial. It has not been easy. We have a lot of questions. Keep learning. There is a lot to learn, and it could get overwhelmed. We want to use various changing strategies, such as task-based, project-based training to make training effective. And we want to utilize available resources from Ex Libris and some other universities, existing documentation. So, like I said, we're continuing learning Alma, and one of the best way to keep up with Alma is through community learning. By that I mean get on to Alma's listserv. And I learned a lot from it, and also there, you know, discussion boards are also that are also very helpful. Next is Alma's monthly release notes. That's definitely, you know, the place where you want to keep up with the new functionalities. Continuing, I'm sorry, troubleshooting in Alma. We knew we would have tons of questions coming in after the go live. So we instituted a new ticket system to enhance communication among various parties. The ticket system also served as a great firsthand training resource. To effectively troubleshoot, staff want to have a solid understanding of e-resource management and how different Alma pieces fit together. Critical thinking cannot be overstated. Unlike previous discrete systems, Alma integrates catalog, link resolver, and discovery functionality in one place. It is often not apparent that where an issue is coming from. Is it a local record or community zone record issue, or is it a central index issue which it, you know, relates to the discovery primo, or is it a configuration issue? So all of these need critical thinking and understanding of the system. Rather than tackling access issues on your own, I find it extremely helpful and less stressful to turn to Alma community. It is very likely others have encountered the same issue and may have a solution or at least advice. Alma listserv and our consortium discussion board are all excellent places to go. So we talked a lot about positive experience. Here are some of our challenges, new challenges with Alma. First, is a community zone records quality. The quality varies. Some of them are very good, but some are need improvement. And the frequency of package and title updating. We receive many reports, bad linking, and they turn out to be outdated title, that needs to be removed out of the package. So ex libris and pub, they need to more timely updates for that, for community zone records. And it takes about 48 to 72 hours for a newly activated electronic collection to show up in Primo. This caused some inefficiency for the workflow because staff, you need to remember to come back to check on the titles. And another sort of frustrating experience is that sometimes we just get very strange search results in Primo for the resource, for the titles we know we don't have, and they're not in Alma. So it's from the Central Discovery Index. That's what Primo used. And there's no way for, because that's controlled by ex libris, not something we can do it from the background. So I have to often have to open the ticket, and it could take some time. And last, community zone updates that I mentioned a little bit earlier. Alma did an excellent job, great job, to keep up, to do the community zone, the title updates, the coverage updates, linking updates for packages the library has. But it is still a lot of work on the library's end to review those changes. So there's, and that also involves some new work flow there. Okay. With that, I think I will take questions.
Thanks, Lee. You finished right on time, and we have quite a few questions. So let me get started with the first one. Oh, there's my timer. See, you finished right on time. The first question is, what's your impression of the mapping of Alma packages to other knowledge-based packages? Did you find that there were a lot of mismatches that needed manual attention, or not too much?
I would say in general, there are certain, for journal packages, there are some, but not a whole lot. But for ebook packages, there seems, for certain packages, I noticed there are quite a difference. That's my impression. Sometimes the mismatch, you could tell it could be due to the title change. So we have, for our, I end up had to manually put some package titles into Alma, on the link resolver form, because we had a lot more titles on the old link resolver for that package. But it's not too much. Yeah.
All right. So the next question we had is, and I think you may have touched on this a bit in the presentation, but there might be more to say. how do end users see the coverage dates for selecting which provider they want to go to?
Oh, the coverage, it shows up in Primo, so they can see the coverage date. Is that what the question, does that answer the question?
I guess if the person who asked the question has any follow-up, you can just throw it into chat. Oh, it looks like, yep, that answers the question. Thanks for clarifying. The next question we have is how many staff members were involved in the implementation process?
For e-resources, we have, we kind of shorthanded, so I had to utilize some help from other unit. I mean, from Monograph folks. So, a lot of time was spending on our deduping project. We have about 4 or 5 people helped out, and then a lot of collaboration between with system library and the cataloging library. And so it's pretty much everybody's, quite a involvement. And people have to get on early for training. We all sort of in this. It's definitely a teamwork. It's a library on the library level.
Yeah, it takes a village sometimes. I really appreciated all the detail you provided about just how much pre-work is involved and how it's really important to allow time for that. I thought that was a really helpful thing to point out. So another question that came through is sometimes we wrestle with what to do about records for large archival packages. Is it your general practice to rely on community zone records, or does it vary by package based on the quality of records for that package?
For archival title, it depends. I think based on the quality of the package, because since the archival package, usually you have a set of titles, what they are, and especially they have fixed dates, that kind of situation. I think it's worth to check yourself. Just put all the local information in Alma, so they are good and you don't have to worry about it. But some providers, so they are pretty good at keeping, because sometimes the archival package, they may also add additional content there. Or in that case, I prefer to use the community zone package, given they are good quality.
Interesting. So we've got some more time. So if other questions are coming up, please feel free to put them right in the chat, or there's a couple of us keeping an eye on that. One question that I had is, I've heard a little bit about the provider zone, which is like a feature that I don't think is live, but would allow content providers to make metadata available in Alma and other Ex Libris services more directly and proactively, and hopefully deal with some of that delay that you mentioned as kind of a downside. Has there been much conversation about the provider zone in the Alma listservs or discussion boards or water cooler or anything?
I saw a little bit. I think there, I ran into, as I'm doing my daily work, I think I ran into a few, not a whole lot. I think they're in the, the early stages. There maybe just a few packages are managed by providers. I first heard about it when I went to the Eluna conference 2 years ago, 2019. I think I first about it. I think the concern the community has is the first, is the quality of the record, also the potential duplicate records for the same journal title. Because, I think Alma, the goal is to the community's own record, the goal is to, just have this one title. So from a discovery point of view, that's so helpful for patients. You have all your access points just from one big title. If you have duplicate records, it will be confusing for patients, definitely. That's why we dedupe our titles in the first place. So that might be a challenge. So like I said, I don't have a whole lot of information on that, but I did read some posts they had this concern, especially for the records those are, quality wise not satisfactory.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's kind of like a roll of the dice, depending on how much attention is given to the provider's metadata. And then I see some comments in chat that it can be a bit complicated when the default records are community zone because you can't always make edits to the metadata. Well, it sounds like such a huge project, and it's really helpful to just hear more about. We have a couple more minutes, so I'm going to just pause and allow for questions to rise up into the chat if anybody has any other ones. Oh, here's one. Are there limits on the number of records you use, whether community zone or other?
Not to my knowledge.
Another question that brings to my mind is I've heard that there's like a limited number of like community requests or something that can be made in Alma. Like each institution can only put forth like a certain number of requests per month or something or per year. And I don't know if that's still the case, like in terms of like feedback or improvements, not like tickets. But is that anything you encountered? Sorry, that's sort of vague.
That I'm not sure. Because I have a, that's probably the system who directly deals with Alma probably has more knowledge of that. Yeah, I sorry.
No, that's
I
okay.
cannot answer that. Yeah.
Well, I don't see any other questions coming up. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing everything you learned from this big project. It was really, really interesting to hear about.
Thank you very much. Thanks for attending my session.
Yes, our pleasure. Enjoy, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Abby, for moderating.